Welcome to Party, April 29th, 2026. Today, we're diving deep into what might be the biggest AI security story you haven't heard about yet, OpenClaw. So there's this open source AI agent runtime called OpenClaw that's been making headlines, but not for the reasons its creators probably hoped. We're talking about a systematic security breakdown that's revealing just how vulnerable these AI agents can be when they're given real system access. I've got headlines talking about everything from silent AI takeovers to credential dumping, and honestly, the scope of this is pretty wild. We'll break down what OpenClaw actually is, what went wrong, and why this matters for anyone thinking about deploying AI agents in their workflow. Alright, so let's start with the basics. OpenClaw is an open-source AI agent runtime. Think of it as the infrastructure that lets AI agents actually do stuff in your environment instead of just chatting. But here's where things get concerning. According to what I'm seeing, a compromised OpenClaw instance can dump credentials, search through your messaging histories, and execute system commands across your entire environment. That's not just a privacy issue. That's full system compromise territory. And we're not talking about theoretical vulnerabilities here. There's been a systematic taxonomy created covering 190 security advisories filed against OpenClaw. Let me repeat that. 990 advisories. That's not a few bugs. That's a pattern. What really stands out to me about this OpenClaw situation is the timing and scale. So OpenClaw went viral, which is great for adoption, right? Except it went viral with all these security issues intact. And then, on apparently the same day, OpenClaw had to issue 3 high-impact security advisories. We're talking about one-click remote code execution vulnerability and 2 command injection vulnerabilities. That's like the trifecta of "oh no" in security terms. One-click RCE means someone can take over your system with minimal interaction from you. Command injection means they can run whatever they want on your machine. My take is this shows what happens when rapid adoption outpaces security review. Now, one of the headlines I'm looking at frames this as OpenClaw vulnerability enables silent AI takeover. And the mechanism they're describing is actually pretty clever from an attacker's perspective. It involves a localhost WebSocket flaw, combined with a brute force attack that lets malicious websites hijack these open source AI agents. Think about that for a second. You visit a malicious website, and suddenly that site can potentially control your AI agent that has access to your credentials, your messages, your system commands. That's a nightmare scenario because most people think of AI agents as helpful assistants, not as potential backdoors into their digital life. Here's what I find really interesting about the broader implications. There's discussion about how traditional LLM-centric security measures mainly focus on content generation and static text filtering, and those measures are inadequate for OpenClaw specifically. This makes sense when you think about it. Most AI safety work has been focused on preventing models from saying bad things or generating harmful content. But OpenClaw isn't just generating text. It's executing actions in your environment. It's the difference between an AI that can write a mean email versus an AI that can actually send that email and access your contacts to send it to everyone you know. The security model has to be completely different. There's also this interesting testing example where researchers ran a vulnerable third-party skill called "What Would Elon Do?" against OpenClaw, and apparently OpenClaw failed decisively in that test. Now, I don't have the full details of what that test involved, but the fact that they're testing with third-party skills highlights another layer of risk. These AI agents aren't just running code that the main developers wrote, they're running extensions and plugins from who knows where. It's like the browser extension problem all over again, except now your extensions have system-level access and can execute commands. That's terrifying when you think about it. So, what's my overall take on this OpenClaw situation? I think we're seeing a preview of what happens when AI agents move from the lab to the real world without proper security foundations. The fact that one platform has 190 security advisories suggests this isn't just a few edge cases. This is systematic security debt. And the viral adoption aspect makes it worse because you've got potentially thousands of people running vulnerable AI agents in their environments before the security catches up. My guess is we're going to see more stories like this as AI agents become mainstream. The question is whether the industry learns from OpenClaw's mistakes or whether we're going to see this pattern repeat with other platforms. Now I want to be clear about what we know and what we don't know here. Most of what I'm seeing are headlines and brief descriptions. So if you're interested in the technical details of these vulnerabilities, you should definitely do your own research. Look up the actual security advisories. Check out the systematic taxonomy that was created. What I can tell you is that this feels like a watershed moment for AI agent security. We've been so focused on alignment and making sure AI says the right things that maybe we haven't paid enough attention to what happens when AI can actually do things in our digital environments. OpenClaw might be the wake-up call the industry needed. The broader lesson here is about the tension between innovation speed and security rigor. AI agents are incredibly compelling. Who doesn't want an assistant that can actually handle tasks instead of just giving advice? But when you give an AI agent the ability to execute system commands, access credentials, and search through your data, you're essentially giving it the keys to your digital kingdom. And if that agent can be compromised by visiting the wrong website or installing the wrong plugin, then you've just handed those keys to whoever wants to take them. That's the reality check that OpenClaw is giving us. So where does this leave us? Well, if you're thinking about using AI agents in your workflow, this OpenClaw situation should make you ask some hard questions. What kind of access are you giving these agents? How are they secured? What happens if they get compromised? And maybe most importantly, are you ready for the security implications of having an AI that can actually take actions on your behalf? The promise of AI agents is huge, but the OpenClaw vulnerabilities show us that we need to get the security right before we scale these systems. Otherwise, we might end up with AI assistants that are more dangerous than helpful. That's the story to watch as this space continues to evolve. Do your research, stay skeptical, and remember that just because an AI agent can do something doesn't mean it should, at least not without proper security guardrails.